Welcome to episode 139 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Megan Knight. We'll get to her in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie, and here's Brian.
Yeah, man, what's up? We're back at it. We took a little bit of a sabbatical, I guess you can say. We really enjoyed friends, family, and everything over the holidays. And um, yeah, I don't know if you can hear it, but I am sick, so it's a great time to get back at it.
Yeah. I am fighting off the start of a sickness. I woke up the past couple days, but I woke up this morning and literally rolled over and was like, oh no, and started chugging Dayquil. So hopefully we get ahead of that. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned sabbatical. Last we released was right before Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving. Yeah, how was the holidays? How was having Hunter and White around?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Thanksgiving was pretty low key here. It was just us, which was amazing. I mean, I loved it. And we same thing with Christmas. Christmas we had it was just the four of us, and it was great, man. It really was. I mean, Hunter's still 9 months old, right? So she has no idea what's going on. But Wyatt, he knows now, and like, so he was opening everybody's present. He just loves tearing paper, right? And but no, it was good. And then we made a trip out to my folks' place up in New York. Um, Rented a house up there and had all the cousins over. And I mean, there is nothing like as a parent to just watch your kid just really enjoy other kids like playing and stuff like that. You just like we did absolutely nothing. We just sat there in the house for a weekend and just let them play, and it was awesome. They're screaming kids. I mean, not good for sensory overload, but they had a good time, man.
Good. Yeah. No, it's he. So why being at that age is he? I'm assuming he's not very. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, like when it comes to the paper, he's just ripping it. There's no like
No,
easiness to it. There's
well, for one, there's no easiness in Wyatt at all, right? That kid is built like a bull and not made for backing down. He is tearing things apart, and yeah, there's no seams and pulling at the tape or anything like that. If it breaks or rips, man, he's taking it out.
yeah, yeah. I always find it interesting, especially with younger kids. Like, some of them are every little piece has to come off the present, or it's just rip it till it. Yeah.
Why,
No, but
Wyatt,
that's
Wyatt will make sure that it's clear of all paper before he turns it over to see what it is. So, I'll give him that.
nice. Yeah. And then yeah, so Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's. But yeah, now we're back to January here, mid-January. Um, yeah, tonight or today on our interview we have Megan Knight. We did this interview back in early December. So a lot to catch up on there, and she talks a lot about her most recent single, then Naive. So um yeah, I think let's just jump into it and get back to why we're here, the music. All right, everyone. We're here today with singer-songwriter Megan Knight. Welcome to Outside the Circle, Megan. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. We oh, what's it been now? Probably at least 4 or 5 months or so that we've kind of crossed paths, and we'll talk about some stuff later that I've gotten the privilege of seeing over the couple months from you. But we always like to start with the very cliche, tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how important music was in your household, things like that.
Yeah, perfect. So, I grew up in South Jersey. I'm really close to Philadelphia, which is very rich in musicians, this area. So I grew up around a lot of like cover bands and stuff like that. And of course, we have venues really close by, like the Fillmore, the Met, like great venues to see live music at a decently affordable price. So I grew up being a young kid, just going to every show I could possibly get to, and always loved music, and was always singing, but I never thought I would exactly be a musician. It kind of naturally happened. I had an injury from sports, playing softball, and I taught myself guitar on YouTube. And I was always shy. And my mom was like, "You should just try to sing at an open mic." I was like 12 or 13 at the time. And I did that and they hired me and I was like, there is no way this is a job. This is so fun and I love it. And that job led to another one and another one and another one. And then I've been a full-time musician for almost 14 years now. So I'm really grateful that my mom encouraged that passion, I guess, inside of me that I found really young, but it was awesome.
That's good. I'm the non-Jersey I guess person in this
Where are
three.
you from?
I'm originally from northern New York.
Oh, okay. We're close.
Yeah, close. Like
Are you
but
like the 5 hours away New York location or?
yeah, yeah,
Uh, okay. I have a friend's dad that lives all the way up there. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like originally from like Saratoga, Lake George area, and so when I first moved to Jersey, there was no country music like at all. Like when I pulled in, and I moved into like the Scotch Plains area, like Central Jersey area, and it shocked me because I grew up on country music. So I was like, "What did I just get myself into? Like, how do they not like this kind of music down here?" But in South Jersey is like its own state, for Jersey as far as and I've learned that. And but was country music pretty big in South Jersey? I mean, it had to have been, right?
So I actually started in rock music, which cracks people up all the time because even when I would sing rock music, people said I had this natural inflection in my voice that sounded country. So early on, I kind of knew my path, but from growing up where I am, I kind of felt pressure to try something other than country when I was younger, because country is really big now in this area, but like you're saying, it wasn't as big as it is now, a decade ago. So I tried the rock thing and it taught me a lot, but it didn't feel like me. And when I started doing country. This a whole other story that we'll get to eventually. But I wound up in Muscle Shoals, Alabama by 13 years old, working with Gary Nichols from the Steel Drivers. He took over for Chris Stapleton. So I started in country, then focused back on rock, and then wound up back where I was meant to be in country, But it was weird growing up here because it wasn't super accepted. I mean, we're close to Maryland and stuff, and my grandfather was really into country, and there's definitely country people around here, but it wasn't always the most accepted genre.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a trip. I'm from the sticks in New York, and I mean, people listen to country music. I definitely listened to it, and I thought it was like the only music until I was like 16, and I heard, I don't know, whatever, DMX or something. It blew my mind, and and
Yeah.
so yeah, I get it. And like, what was what's the song? I was country before country wasn't cool. That type
Oh
of
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
thing. And yeah, and yeah, you're right. And then I think what a lot of people don't think of when they think of New Jersey, especially South Jersey, is like how rural that area is. I mean, it is as country as you'll get.
Yeah, my dad and all grew up in the woods riding quads. Like that was his youth, and he'd be stuck in the middle of the woods. There's no way to contact anyone. And he'd go to his nearest friend's house. He got his bike stolen. He's like, Mom, someone just took my bike. And she's like, you're just playing another prank on me. Because he was like a jokester. They all were. Like, and so, yeah, that was the fun in our area was going and playing in the woods.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely, and it's funny too, like, I'm from New Jersey too, but I'm from like the central northern side. So like for
There's that
me, it
one.
was, yeah, it was all concrete. And if you wanted to go play, you played on the basketball court. You didn't have the woods or the fields or so it is funny that New Jersey is very different depending on where you are in the state. Um, but yeah, I mean, country until Thunder 106, country was not a thing on this side either. And
Yeah.
yeah, and especially being like so close to Philly, having like you said, all those venues, and I'm going to Fillmore next week actually. So
Um,
great little areas. But I guess what I'm getting to, I guess to kind of bring it back on track a little bit, I guess. So when that injury happened and you picked up the guitar and started really like getting involved and playing these open mics and getting these gigs, um we always like to kind of ask, was there like a aha moment for you, or was it kind of like you said, just kind of gradually, like every other job, every next job, like made it more realistic?
Yeah, there was an aha moment because my stars were aligning so quickly. I've never heard of a story that like intensified, like you know how they say like an overnight success. Well, maybe I wasn't an overnight success where everybody knows my name, but it was overnight. I had like no experience really because I just started that young. I mean, like I said, I've always been singing. I used to be in musical theater, even though that wasn't really my thing. Like my parents had to work during the summer, so they're like, let's just start running a theater camp. And you know, that kind of like imprints your subconscious, I guess. So I had something going on, but the aha moment was going back to how I kept getting hired. So backtracking to what I said before, I got hired for this backyard party. I'm still this 13-year-old kid. There was a guy, Gene Stevenson, in the crowd, and he said, I really see something special in you. And would you be okay if I sent your music to someone I know down south? And I was like, of course, send it to whoever you want. Like, what do I care? But I didn't realize who he was sending it to. I mean, Gary was signed to Mercury Records for a good while with his solo career. And then he won a Grammy with the Steel Drivers after Chris left. And of course, Chris won tons of Grammys. And he wound up mentoring me from like a really young age. So I was like, this is definitely what I'm meant to do. I mean, that's what they say happens for, you know, your destiny, right? Where it just kind of like keeps falling onto your lap and you're like, oh, it whispers, it doesn't shout, you know, what you're meant to do in life. And it's really cool. I really am happy that it happened naturally because I was always such a shy kid. And unless it felt like that, I don't think it would have happened for me.
So kind of talk about that mentoring a little bit. So like being that he's in Muscle Shoals, he's in the South, you're up here in New Jersey
Mhm.
at a young age. Like what does that look like? Like what is he providing for you and like what was he doing along the way for you there?
Yeah, so I would fly down pretty regularly and I would just go into the studio and get into these co-writing sessions and eventually start cutting songs and meeting all of these legends. I mean, it's unbelievable. I was meeting like Bonnie Raitt's guitarist one day, and then the next day I'm meeting the guy that played on Neil Young's records. And I mean, it was just the coolest experience, and I was just picking these people's brains from like a young age. So I was just hanging. I was a studio rat. I was just hanging around and trying to talk to anybody and get advice from anybody I possibly could because I knew I was like a little lucky being this young kid, kind of like hanging around. And we did wind up putting out a record. It's gone now. I had a very young voice, and I was like, all right, I need to get serious with how I want to be perceived. And I learned a lot from that record, but I sound too young to be trying to market that, in my opinion. There was a lot of room for growth. But I did wind up learning a ton. And I'm pretty sure my song Fall for Two, that I still have that single out, it wound up winning a couple local awards here. They're called the Homie Awards. It was on 93.7 WSTW and kind of like got me into the circuit here. And yeah, it's just that mentorship led to like a lot of great things, and I'm still working in Muscle Shoals to this day. So he brought me the connections that I have now that are starting to change my life, and I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful that he believed in me for such a long period of time.
Yeah, I mean, great mentors are irreplaceable. I had one of the best mentors of my entire life, and it so happened to be my second cousin, audio engineer, Grammy-winning audio engineer out of Nashville, and I had never met him my whole life, and I had gotten into music and wanting to learn recording. And my dad was like, you got a cousin that does this type of stuff in Nashville. And I'm like, oh, crazy. So I flew to Nashville and just got off the plane and walked up to who I thought was him, and it was. So we had never met, never talked to her. There's a crazy story. Um, but it was my same type of thing. I'm sitting in a studio in Nashville, and there's musicians coming in and out. Like I remember just sitting in the like I call it the galley, but like the kitchen or whatever. These musicians are coming in, and half of them are like hungover from playing nights before and stuff like that. I'm like, this is crazy. Like this is insane. Like,
You grow up fast. You grow up fast, and you're like, oh, I kind of want to do that a little too young, maybe.
yeah, 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 yeah. I remember it very vividly, and like and you get like the crazy like what are you doing here, that type of stuff, and like don't
Yeah.
do that type of life, and you're like stop. I'm really excited about this.
Oh, exactly. And then you get older and you're like, oh, that's why you said that, because you're really like living a nocturnal life and a wild life and an unpredictable one as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's awesome that you got to live that as well. It's like the most priceless gift. Like it is a gift. It's
yeah.
awesome.
No, I agree that, and I always say that is one of the priceless ones. And sitting in a tracking session is one of the most like electric feelings ever that a human
Mhm.
being can feel. Yeah, I think the amount of creativity and everything that's happening in the air during a tracking session is to this day gives me chills. I love every second of tracking.
Yeah, it's such a spiritual experience. Like to me, I believe in like energy and like I don't know, because when I write songs, I feel like a lot it comes from somewhere else. And I remember Jack White like explains it as like a satellite that it's like feeding through him, and he's just a channel. Like we're all channelers, artists, and it's just such a out of body experience, and it's so addicting. I'm like, oh, what more do I need to know? Like, what else are you trying to say? And that's how I approach songwriting, at least, and tracking as well, because I'm a co-producer on all my stuff, and I love kind of like hearing things and then hiring the musicians and telling them what I hear and then seeing them do it, and I'm like, whoa, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I don't have the recording background side of music. I've only attempted to play and then realized I'm not very good at it. So then I made Brian start a podcast. But before that, I do have the creative background in like film and television and like writing like screenplays and novels and things like that. So to kind of talk along those lines of seeing things come together and being able to tell somebody like this is my vision and then it come to life, like um the people that I guess that happens in a lot of parts of life, but it might not seem as magical compared to something in like entertainment, I guess, and in the arts. But there really is something that a lot of people miss out on when they don't find that like aha moment of being able to direct something or have artists play something that yeah, it's a totally different feeling. Most people don't get to experience it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's so sad. And I was going to say, I think every single person is so capable. It's just a matter of like unlocking it and allowing yourself to explore it. I think a lot of people get really hesitant if they're not instantly amazing at something. Um, I mean, you got to like work hard. Like going back to that first record I wound up taking down, there was a lot of room for improvement. But if I didn't go through all that, I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am now. Everything takes time and dedication. And I think that's what freaks people out the most is because they instantly think they're going to come out of the gate like amazing and with all these accolades. It's like, no, the secret is if you're persistent long enough, it's going to happen. And I'm finally only just now seeing this like this past year. I just signed like my first record deal, and I've been dreaming about that for so long. And I'm like, it's finally here. I cried because I'm like, oh my God, it's real. Like you can get like what you want. And I still have so many more goals, and I'm just like, it's possible. Like that was like the motivation I needed to know that it's true. And now I try to spread that to everybody. Like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you're right. And I think also there's a certain amount of perseverance that needs to happen. And I think a lot of people, like you say, like aren't, if they don't have that instant success, then they start to doubt themselves and start to doubt themselves. And
I'm that
um,
person. Yeah.
yeah, and well, I think that's what separates too, like the true pros from the people that you like kind of just want it just a little bit.
It's more like a mental strength thing. And I think you got to train your brain. Like I do a lot of scripting, and I think everybody should, where it's just like, I let go of fears. I let go of limiting beliefs. And when you start doing that, that's the secret. And I always tell everybody, I'm like, oh my gosh, why don't people tell this secret more? Everybody's trying to be this gatekeeper. And I think that is it. It's reprogramming your mind to believe that you're capable of these things. And if you do that, you really are. Like we are so smart, and there's so much knowledge that is kept away from us because we're so powerful.
No.
And yeah, everybody can do anything artistic. Ronnie, you got it. Just start scripting.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I mean, you're already writing scripts. You already said you are, so now just
yeah.
program the brain.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely
Then you're
need to
playing
do a
that
little
guitar,
more.
and I'll be like, Ronnie, you're hired. Let's go.
Yeah, perfect. I'm in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely need to be a little better at that. That's for sure. But so talking about like growth and putting in time and getting dedicated. Let's kind of talk like shift gears a little bit and kind of talk about the songwriting side of it. So kind of like starting on the very basic generic. Kind of what's that process look like for you? What's your yeah when you sit down and start writing?
So I'm definitely that person, like I feel like I have to like move my body to like get ideas. So a lot of times I'll get a lot of my song ideas like on jogs or working out or doing chores around the house. I'll just like get these like little phrases or like a song title, and those are the things that I'll either completely write and do myself, or I wind up bringing them into a songwriting session. Like my single breeze, for example, I was on a jog and the chorus melody and the word breeze came to me. And I went into a songwriting session with James LeBlanc and Jimmy Nutt. And I had this horrible voice memo. I'm literally mid jogging here. Breathe. I'm like, guys, I'm sorry. I was running 3 miles, but do you get the idea? And they're like, wait, there's something there. And that's how like a lot of my songs bloom is like, I don't know, I have to be like moving. Where a lot of people like sit on guitars and it comes to them that way. I'm the complete opposite. Like I need to be doing something completely opposite of music for it to come.
Interesting. I wonder if that's like a subconscious of like, not overthinking.
Yes, and I need that. I'm the biggest overthinker. I should have an award, number one overthinker.
Yeah. So allowing the brain or whatever, the body to be doing something completely separate than thinking of a song.
Oh, so true. My brain, it's like amazing, but my worst enemy at the same time. Like I'm the person blow drying my hair and brushing my teeth at the same time. Like it's always got to do two things.
Yeah.
I'm not that way. I have to like be a focus. Like I'm sitting
Yeah.
down what we're doing right now. My wife hates it. I'm not the greatest multitasker.
That's a blessing. I wish I was more like that because for me, it's like in order to focus, I need to be like doing multiple things, which sounds insane. But even talking, I try to slow down, but my mind moves so fast. It's just so fast. And I have to learn to accept it and appreciate it because I can't change that, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. So listening to you say that about, always kind of being on the move and whatnot, it made me, I was thinking about, so one thing that I have actually done successfully in my life is I've released 2 books of poetry. And as you were talking about that, it made me realize that I've never sat at this desk and written a single thing that's in either of those books. It's always somewhere in the world, whether I'm sitting on a bench or, walking in the mall or like nothing has ever come from just sitting. So I guess we're kind of similar in that sense.
Yeah, I love that. And
Yeah.
you have to send me the links to those. I would love to read them. I love poetry. And you've accomplished so much. I did not like that sentence where you're like, a couple things I did. I'm like, you are so successful. Like, you are so successful. But
I'm a very back to the I don't think very highly of them or myself. So
well, I'm going to
I don't
reprogram you.
have
I'm going to
that.
tell you how great you are every day. I'm going to call you every morning and be like, do you know how great you are?
Yes, well, I definitely need that, but
Yeah.
but I think that's actually kind of a perfect transition here. So we're gonna play a song for you that I think kind of follows this conversation a little bit. So why don't you go ahead and introduce the song we're gonna play, and then we'll talk about it when we come back from break.
Okay, perfect. This song is called Naive, and it's all about trying to tap back into how your mind was when you were little and enjoying and being present in the moment. And kind of when you're older, going back and reflecting on that and seeing if you can apply that mentality with all of the experience in life you've had now. And even if reflecting on it and curing like your shadow self, if you like look up what your shadow self is, if you do work on your shadow self, how much better of a being you can be. And I don't know, in the second verse, it's a little depressing, but it shows how the shifts in your mentality can really, impact the reality that you live in.
Innocence is just some distant memory, playing hide and seek and staring up at the stars. A Kids Code classic, playing tag and music blasting. Growing up, it's a trap that's everlasting. As I was still naive, be just who I Dancing in the rain, not feeling any pain, never any reason to complain. All you need is love, it was so easy to believe. I wish I was still naive. Now we're straight-laced with a rhythm like the air. Struggle to breathe without prescriptions and other noise. Swimming in messes of heaps inside the trenches. Everyone's jaded, hard to find any joy. Never any reason to complain. All you need is love, it was so easy to believe. I wish I was still naive.
Do I do it now? Two, three.
All right, so let's talk about Naive. You gave us a little introduction to it. Let's kind of talk about the inspiration side of that. So, what was the inspiration behind writing that song, putting it out, essentially making it your newest single?
So that song kind of came about. I was playing around on the piano and I wrote the second verse. It kind of was like that subconscious writing, like I was saying, which is wild because I wasn't moving. I was just sitting at a piano. So wow, that's good. But I just had the second verse and I went into a co-write with those same two writers again, James and Jimmy, and I said, I have this second verse, but I don't know what I want the title to be, which it has to like wrap this whole idea up. And James was like, how about like naive? And I'm like, wait, stop, perfect. I felt like time slowed down and the rest of the song kind of really naturally wrote itself. And immediately when we started like playing the demo into our iPhone, I immediately heard strings, like really rich, cinematic strings. And I have a friend named Caleb, and we're like, is Caleb free tomorrow to track this thing? And Caleb came in and absolutely killed it. And then I believe we had Kimmy Sampson come in as well and add some violin in certain parts. Yeah, it was. Because I remember she made this joke and she's like, Megan, I really like this song, and she does not give compliments. So I was like, what? Kimmy likes it? I was like, yes. So the song came about like really, really organically, I feel like, and it was a great time. And I had this idea for a music video of going back into the hard drive and finding childhood videos of myself and trying to make the listener think back to their kids when they were little or themselves when they were little, and apparently it worked because a lot of people cried, and I'll never forget when I played that music video for my uncle, and he couldn't stop crying for 20 minutes. I've never seen him cry ever, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I was just looking at videos of my little son, when he's 14 now, but when he was a little kid, and I just lost it because I was just thinking about that and thinking about you. I remember the first time I held you in my arms, and so I think the song really is impactful, and that's always my goal. I just want to make people feel something.
No, I love it, and I usually talk on the production side of things, just how it is, how my ears hear it, but and I will the mystic feel that is going on through that song is super nice. It's engaging for the listener. But I will tell you a story. I'm a dad of two. I have a 4-year-old and I have a 8-month-old. And my son Wyatt earlier today, he goes to me. I had to do something. He's like, "Why do you do it?" And I'm like, "'Cause I'm the adult." And he goes, "I want to be an adult." And I'm like, "No, you don't."
The kid says that, and they're like, "Oh, you're right." One day. Aw.
That was the whole thing. I was like, no. I was like, you need to be a kid for as long as possible. Stay a child,
Yeah,
and
being a kid is the best.
it was quite the thing, And then when I heard this, it was like, it was like one of those things. It was like, that story had to happen, and I had to hear this song too. And yeah, you're right. I mean, even just going through, thinking about, the wild days of my childhood, and all the friends that I had, it's like one of those things. It is, you miss that that life in the before, where before.
Nostalgia creeps up, and then you're like, why am I depressed for like no reason? Like my life can still be this great, I think.
Yeah, no,
But you miss it. I mean, it's a natural emotion, I guess we all have.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it's a great song. It's a well written song, and yeah, it's awesome. Congrats.
So much.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously on the I always talk about the content and the writing and the lyrical side of things, and the growing up it's a trap that's everlasting line might be my favorite 6-7 words that I've ever heard in unison or in a row. Yeah, I like you said, just kind of tapping back to that youngerness and or your mind younger. I've been doing a lot of that in therapy. I am a very big advocate of therapy, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I've been focusing mostly on in the last couple sessions. And
It's
um,
so important.
so
You gotta go backwards to go forwards.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like Brian said, he needed that story and this song to happen simultaneously. I feel the same way that this song showed up when it was supposed to, and that's the power of music, right? That you're talking about your uncle, and there's nothing better than, first of all, when the song is great, which it is, it makes it even better, obviously. But there's nothing better than when music really sets the tone and understands and gives you, I don't want to say gives you meaning, but gives meaning to what's going on. And I feel like this song has done that for people and will always do that. People are always growing. People will always be young and turn old, and this is going to be something that people are going to hang on to for a very long time.
I love that. And I hope people can pick it apart and realize like we're capable of still dancing in the rain and doing all those things that were fun when we were little that I'm writing about. Like, if you want, we can all be grown adults and go play tag outside. Like, I'm like, sometimes I think back and I look back and I'm like, one day it was the last day we played tag, and one day was the last day we decided to dance in the rain. I'm like, but why? It stinks. So then I guess that's what's nice when you grow older and then you have your own kids and you get to live it all again. And everybody just waits for that moment. You're like secretly loving it. You're like playing dolls and you're like, wait, I actually can't miss this. It's so funny.
That's one of my favorite things is to play monster trucks with Wyatt.
Right, exactly. Like build like super tall like buildings out of the jumbo Legos. Like count me in. I love this.
To keep people back and play more.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of have two like quick, funny like stories about that. The dancing in the rain, just the last time you've done something. Yesterday I was walking through Stop and Shop, which for those that don't know, it's a grocery chain here in New Jersey. I was walking through a grocery store and I saw a sheet cake and I said, "You remember like when you were little, you're like, I can't wait to grow up and be able to buy a sheet cake whenever I want. When do we buy sheet cakes just because?" So I'm buying a sheet cake this weekend. I decided once this sickness is gone, I am sitting with a sheet cake.
Happy for you.
Yeah, and then the dancing in the rain part, I kind of had the person in the situation that it happened with, unfortunately, is not a very happy ending. But 2 years ago, I was in Italy, and we were in this garden that's supposed to be a top 10 like most beautiful places in the world. It was pouring rain, and all this person wanted to do was get inside, get out of the rain, go back to the hotel. And I literally stood there and was like, no, like I am going to stand in this garden. I am going to get drenched. I do not care. We're literally in like this place and this will never happen again. Why are we not experiencing this? And it's kind of like the last time we danced in the rain. Our first instinct is to get out of danger, right? Get out of this, get out of that. But when you have that kid mentality, you don't see danger. You just do it. And
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel like we could talk about this forever.
Yeah, well, it's so true because I mean, like you think about it and I mean, you think about a garden, you're like, oh my God, this rain is like giving this plant life. So really, I'm like watching something cool go down if you really want to get artistic about the moment. But you're like, wait, this is like a really like beautiful moment. But yeah, we didn't have rain for a really long time here, and there was like so many fires, and moments like that make you appreciate the rain. Like we were all doing rain dances over here ourselves because we're like, rain, come on. We felt like back in the day when they would do the rain dances and the outfits with the feathers. I'm like, I'm about to go make one and go dance out there myself because where is this rain? But I don't know. It's the little stuff. You realize how grateful you are for it when you don't have it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of transition to my favorite thing that I've gotten to see you do over the past couple of months. So I've had the privilege of seeing you perform both with a band and solo, probably half a dozen times now or so, just kind of in the area around town. What does a Megan Knight live show look like? What could people expect when they come to see you perform?
So in the tri-state area here, I'm still doing a lot of cover shows to fund my studio time. So I do mix in originals, but I do play a lot of covers around here, and that's how I survive. But I do love it, and I love my band, and I love everybody that comes out in sports. But when I play shows in like Nashville and Alabama, they're more like original music based, and it's more me as the artist. I want to do more stuff like that here. I do have some coming up. January 31st, I'm opening up for Tiger Lily Gold in the Poconos, Camelback Ranch. I guess that's Poconos area technically.
Yeah.
So stuff like that's really fun. I got to do the Brad Paisley pre-party recently, which was really fun. So I do have some more original type gigs, but it's definitely my goal to get more regional booking, opening up for bigger country acts doing the original thing. So that's on the list of goals.
Yeah, and kind of going back to how country music wasn't that big around here until recent. One of the places I've gotten to see you at a lot is the Wildwood Honky Tonk, which just opened this year. So
Fun.
talk about a place that's trying to put country music back or in the hands of people now. What a cool place. Brian, I don't think you've been there yet, right? Yeah, it's a cool place. You're
Really
playing there
cool.
this week too, right? Well,
Yeah, actually Thanksgiving Eve. And I'm so appreciative of them creating that venue because it gives such an outlet to people with our genre because there really aren't that many country oriented venues around here. We've got like, I mean, you could probably count it on one hand. So when that came about, I was so grateful because even when we're playing with the band, it's the coolest thing ever. You look out in the crowd and there's like professional line dancers like doing their thing. And there was this one day, there was this couple from Texas that came through because I guess the girl lived in this area, but the husband was from Texas, and he was like flipping her, doing this crazy stuff. I'm like, wow, like I am amazed. I mean, I'm getting entertained while I'm entertaining, and I'm like, this is great. I love this. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool place, and I'm glad to see that. Um, we've had our fair share of bar venues like open and close,
Yeah.
and if it feels like they're not going anywhere, it feels like they really found a home down there, and there's nothing really like it for a like around it. Like it's pretty much it's standalone in that um what is it? I guess it's considered like South Shore area.
Yeah.
Um
And I think there's a rumor of another one popping up around there, so I'm excited.
all right, some competition then. All right.
Yeah,
Um
I think the more the merrier. I don't even think they're competition at that point. I think we're just ready to build a whole little Nashville in Jersey. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I hope that would be great because Nashville is very, like, I don't know, it's getting a little overpopulated in my opinion. I mean, I'm trying to drive 10 minutes and it takes an hour, so I get stressed out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to, back in the COVID pandemic days, we talked a lot about how you don't necessarily need to be in Nashville anymore with the internet and social media. And now that live music has obviously been back for quite some time now, but yeah, like, maybe Nashville isn't what it I mean, it still is obviously what it is, but maybe in the future it's not going to be, and it's going to be more regional and
Well, I'm
yeah,
hoping we can spread out just at least a little bit more because for me, the deal I just signed is based in Nashville, so that's why I really am like excited to spend spring there. I'm going to move there for like a short period of time to kind of focus on like co-writing, working with some more producers, and also networking a little more because I don't really feel like I spend enough time like shaking hands, meeting people, and making friends. But at the same time, I have such a hard time thinking about living there because everybody's just so on top of each other that I'm like so used to living in the sticks that I'm like, oh, how does a lot of people are from the sticks that moved there. So I'm like, how are they all living in this congested city right now? Because I'm a little stressed out.
yeah. Well, I think that's it. They're all stressed but
Yeah.
they're all putting their head down and trying to,
Yeah. And I'll
to
join them, but I'm like, can we just like extend this like a little bit further? Like,
yeah,
let's extend some miles out of Nashville, please.
yes, yeah. So talking about the spring and the future coming up here, if I'm not mistaken, your next single is scheduled for January,
Mhm.
sometime in January coming up. What can you tell us about that so far? You got info on that song yet?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It'll be out the second Friday of January. That's the 10th, right? Um, calendar. Yep, January 10th.
Yeah.
I'm really good with dates. I mean, I literally wake up every day and I'm like, what day of the week is it? Yeah, so that's how I live my life. But January 10th, it will be out. We just finished shooting the music video, which was so fun. Speaking of the honky tonk, there was a line dancing teacher there named DJ Ashley Rose. And I saw her online. I never got to meet her in person yet, but I messaged her and I said, hey, this might sound a little weird, but would you be interested in choreographing a dance for my upcoming single? And she was excited. And I was like, awesome. So she made a dance. We went to a local venue and a bunch of people volunteered to dance in it. And wow, were they amazing dancers. I can't dance to save my life, so that was funny. And we recorded it. We had a great video production guy who came out called Joey Videoey, and he was amazing and he slayed, and I got to edit it and it's all ready to rock. It's ready to go. I actually really wanted to release it by December, but the business closes down in December, so I'm holding on to it, but it's really upbeat, fun, country, and danceable, so hopefully people will dance on TikTok to it.
No, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And what's fun too about watching the music videos is like, for us at least, it's exciting to see like recognizable places. You're like, oh yeah, I know where she's at there.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, 100%. So many people do that with like wildwood locations that I go to. Like I'll be on the beach and I'll get people that text me or message me that follow me at a lot of my shows and they'll be like, hey, I have to ask, is that like wherever I'm at? And they'll play a guessing game because they're like betting with their friends because we're all local. And I love that people are like, can I guess? So I'll keep it a secret to see if you guys can guess where it's at.
Yeah.
Hey, this is awesome. No, one of the last things we'd always like to touch on is where can people follow you and follow along on this journey of yours?
So my website is megannightmusic.com. My Instagram is megnightmusic. And then Facebook is Megan Night Music. YouTube, Megan Night Music. TikTok, Meg Night Music. It's just variations. Some people had Megan taken up. There's a lot of Megan Nights in the world. So, we make it work, but all of the links are on my website. So I just say that's the easiest list.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Megan, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. I mean, like I said, about 4 months ago now, seeing you at the Marblehead Chowder House in Mount Holly. It's been fun watching and getting to come out and see you do your thing. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what 2025 and further brings for you. And yeah, we can't thank you enough for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are so lovely, and I loved getting to know you more.
All right, so that was our interview with Megan Knight, and yeah, like I said, we did that back in early December, so a little bit of time has passed. So since then, we've got some new music from her, which we'll bring later. But yeah, I mean, I think we talked about how she's somebody that I've had the privilege, the honor of getting to know in the local South Jersey scene over the past couple months, and I knew how fun and energetic and all that, but she really brings such like a positive, infectious personality to not only rounds out the music too, that just who she is as a person. It was fun to get to know her.
Yeah, man, I echo that. I think, it was cool to have a local person on the podcast, someone here in Jersey. But, she's not afraid to go out and get, what she needs as far as, the professional recordings. I mean, going to Muscle Shoals, was massive. I think that's one of the coolest things and one of the coolest, musical places to go to record music. I mean, it's iconic. It's everything it needs to be. And, her music is perfect for that venue and recording side of it. But, man, it was awesome. It was cool to sit there and chat with Megan. And I look forward to catching her around the area.
Yeah. Well, you might not get that opportunity too much soon. At this point, she's either already or on her way down to making that move to Nashville officially. So we've only got a little bit longer of having Megan local before she's gone. Well, not for good, but till she heads south on us.
Right. No, man, I'm excited, and I don't know if you have anything else to cover, but we definitely want to thank Megan for coming on Outside the Circle. Make sure you go and follow her on all of her music listening platforms. We'll leave you today with a track from Megan Knight, Boots on the Ground.
Shooting doubles, neon lights, cigarette smoke, Friday night. Lucchese's on the dance floor, kicking up dust. City folks wishing they could move like us. Hey now, boots on the ground, you gotta get lost before you get found. Live wire, set it on fire, watch it go up in flames. Wild child, once in a while, you gotta find a way to lay these burdens down, 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 down. Get your boots on the ground. Hey, good looking, I walk the line. Call me crazy, but mama tried. Maybe you was Memphis, Bonnie and Clyde. 6 days on the road and now it's Tulsa time. Hey now, boots on the ground, you gotta get lost before you get found. Live wire, set it on fire, watch it go up in flames. Wild child, once in a while, you gotta find a way to lay these came burning it down, 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 down. Hey now, boots on the ground, you gotta get lost before you get found. Live wire, set it on fire, watch it go up in flames. Wild child, once in a while, you gotta find a way to lay these burdens down, 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 down. Hey now, boots on the ground, you gotta get lost before you get found. Live wire, set it on fire, watch it go up in flames. Wild child, once in a while, you gotta find a way to lay these burdens down, 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 down. Gotta get your boots on the ground. Gotta get your boots on the ground.